Yes, we are here, and we've got some important information to share about family, about unity, about humility, about ratchet behavior, about being a gentleman, a lady, um, about street life, etc. I'm Jimmy Spice Curry. Sometimes I'm looking down, sometimes I'm looking up at the camera. The location we're at is our home, and as you can see in the background, a small amount of our trophies and awards from chess and other types of ventures. Over here, some cables and some more awards um, that we won. And I'm showing a lot of that because he's one of the person that's won a lot of the awards. Aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, he is. And he's my oldest son. I want to get to a few points. Hopefully, much of this will help some of you that are experiencing challenges, problems. And we'll take it from there. So I'll put this in context. It's been a kind of rough day because a relative of my wife's called here, didn't ask to communicate with me, didn't even say hello, and worked out, even though I didn't want it to go down, to pick up my wife for an event. Now, these types of things happen often from my wife's family. Not all of them, but from most. Now, why would I go public on this? Because I think it's a way to get a message to them, even though I have told several of them several times. There's an appropriate way to communicate with an adult male husband who is not a punk, and there's an inappropriate way. I get the impression some family members from my wife's think they can be disrespectful to me, but if I'm disrespectful to them, then it's a whole nother thing. Well, it doesn't work like that. I'll give you an example. I was talking to one of the people, and I was explaining to the man that, look, you can't just call my house if I'm here, talk to your relative, and not say hi to James. You recall that discussion I told you about? Okay. I said, it's like, suppose I call your wife or your lady, and I say, oh, yo, I'm going out to a meeting. We work to a place, and boom, 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 meet me downstairs. Right? I don't know if the person appreciated the depth of the analogy. And so later the person said, I said, there has to be a better way for you to communicate with me when you're dealing with your relative. So the person said, yeah, okay. But the way the person said it was a brush off, as though, yeah, whatever, nigga. So I was going to say, yeah, all right, whatever. And I was going to hang up. But then I thought, why should I lower my standard of communication and maturity? Because this person is responding in a way that kind of is pretty immature, in my opinion. So instead, I said, well, you know what? Hold on for a second, and here is your relative. The person hung up the phone. So sometimes in life, it seems as though no matter what you do, some individuals will, what do you think is my point?
Will not return positivity.
Yeah,
be negative.
Will not return. And my son is a bit upset over this too, because, well, what are your thoughts on what I'm saying? How do you think things went today?
Well, the person responded inappropriately and immaturely, not like an adult, basically like how a kid should get, and you tell them they can't get.
Yeah, and my wife has some great people in her family, but very often I find that there's some level of emotional immaturity in some, in others, some cognitive immaturity. And that negatively impacts. Oh, come in. Now we have the young princess here. Come on, go for the young princess. Yay! And that often leads to some miscommunications. I think also what happens in the Black and Latino community and in socioeconomically challenged white and other Asian communities, etc., is that if a male tries to carry himself in a gentlemanly, calm, rational manner, people make the assumption that the dude is soft and can't, like, handle himself in a fight or can't be macho. And that's actually not the case. What you'll find usually, and I'm not trying to get into that, but the top dudes in most gangs, mafia, etc., even in law enforcement, are typically the more rational ones. It's the ones below that are trying to prove a point. And it's the same with females. The queen bee is not usually acting in a crazy, immature manner. It's the ones that want to be the queen bee. Um, and so whether it's, I tell my kids this all the time, whether it's 10 people that are with me, one or a billion, that doesn't matter. What matters to me is that I have done my introspection, my research, my reflection, and based on my experience, my studies, my meditations, and my cognitive awareness, I move strong in a path that is as humble as possible, that won't hurt people when feasible. But if people come at me with stuff, it's happened to me all my life because I'm a slim looking dude. I carry myself, try to be nice. People think I'm soft, and I have to be like, yo, it don't go down like that. And sometimes I have to talk to people like that to let them know, yo, nigga, what the hell you dealing with? You want to step outside? I'm over 50. I've been going through this since primary school. So what is wrong with the dynamic of the Black family and the Latino family where you gotta like get like ignorant with people to get a point across? Don't I tell you all the time? Some people you can try to be at a high level on in subjects, but if they're on this level, instead of them realizing that maybe you have more experience, wisdom, studies, etc. in the area, maybe you've been married for 20 years like me and you know what's up. Maybe you survived a lot of stuff that they haven't even aren't aware of, that maybe they should step back and learn. Instead, they try to act like, well, nigga, you the one with the problem. Like, first of all, I didn't start the problem. Secondly, I'm not the one with the problem. I'm trying to impart wisdom. So anyway, the I notice also on my wife's Facebook, when it's stuff about me, most of her family acts like they don't see it. Now, the fact that I had to ask some of the people of her family not to live with me anymore because um, there were some disrespectful things going on shouldn't mean that people hold it against me. How many of you have an in-law living with you? It's a tough situation. Now, that same in-law that I had to ask to move twice gets along with me perfectly. 3 separate occasions, I was the person fortunate enough to be there to save her life when she was dying. We're good. But it's other people that seem to be, in my opinion, based on some inductive and deductive reasoning, holding resentment. They may hold resentment for whatever reason, but the mature thing to do is to talk about it. To say, hey, listen, I'm not happy about so and so. And then I could say, well, this is my position on it, and maybe you misinterpreted it. More communication is necessary. But if the communication ain't necessary, then step off and leave me the hell alone. That's how I roll. I'm that type of dude. I'm like, yo, hey, we good? No? Well, then bounce off, homie. Or lady, whatever. It's all good. Because more important to me is 1, 2, 3. This is Sahara. That's JJ. This is James Curry, Jimmy Spice. Sometimes nice, sometimes not if people screw around. Then I have DNA. The autistic son, great kid. Then we have computer. Then we have Nina. So what's the theme of this? Mind your business. What does that mean? If a person has a family that's doing chess and math, spelling, winning awards, putting out books, doing art events that are not doing negative to anybody, why would you be negative to them? And if you are, step off and don't deal with us anymore. And that goes for probably 95% of my wife's family. 95% are not cool with me. I haven't done nothing wrong. So the 5% that are cool, let's roll. we good. If nobody wants to roll, that's cool too. And that's why it's so important to be confident in who you are. You don't need 1,000 people on Sunday to make you feel like you're special. If they're with you, good. If not, like, you special either way. You know? So let my kids say a few things and then we'll be out. Jay, anything you want to say?
Well, I feel like family unity is a very important and strong force. However, as my father indicated, there's some people that take it to me if one member is wrong, defend them rather than it should be who is right or who is intelligent in that area circumstance.
Thank you. Sahara, any thoughts?
I agree with what my brother JJ said. As a point, I'd like to add also, it's not just us that are doing positive. There are tons of other people and other kids who are doing positive. I'm sure some of you are doing lots of positive things as well. And I hope that you continue to do positive during tough times.
Yeah, because the world will have you think that you're alone. Like, man, everybody else is doing this. Maybe I'm the one that's wrong. And in actuality, most of the world, I think, is headed down the wrong path. And that's why we see all the pollution and destruction and families breaking up over nonsense and interfamily beef and families protecting people that are doing the wrong thing instead of checking them and saying, listen, what you're doing is wrong there. No, you shouldn't be doing that. It's disrespectful to A, B, C, D. No, you're my brother, my sister, my aunt, my uncle, my niece, my nephew, my great-grandfather. But no, that's inappropriate. Here's why. It's setting a bad example. It's this, it's that. Somewhere the bull has to stop in families. Person's great in this, but terrible in this. Say, look, we love you for this, but in this you get an F minus. And it's setting the bad tone, right? I'm the type of person that I tell people what I'm thinking, and most people are immature and unable to handle it. So what I learned to do is say, okay, let me just pull back from that person because you can't have a mature discussion with them. And so anyway, I'm confident in who I am, happy with who I am, and the folks that don't like it, piss off. It's that simple. Ain't that hard to figure out. I can be nice as a butterfly or a cobra if people mess with me and my family. Don't disrespect us, because as you can see, we're not into nothing negative, not doing no drugs. I drink liquor maybe once a year, not selling drugs, no prostitution, no pregnancy. Tell them. Positive, Cornell University, course at Harvard University, course at Cornell, like I said, Schomburg. I mean, all positive. Why would people be negative with us? I'll tell you why, because some people just are unhappy with who they are or have been taught to pull people down that are trying to continue rising in a positive way. A lesson, don't get that energy around you. And if it's there, try and remove it, because they really don't know what they're doing. They're unaware. And it's a sad thing to see, but you can't save the world sometimes. You got to pull back and say, you know what? Got to go out. So anyway, this is us, Big Daddy, JJ, Sahara. My wife is sleeping. Baby boy is sleeping and computer's sleeping. So we're the only three in this video. And it's a long video. I didn't get to touch on all the points I had wanted to, but hopefully there's enough in this video to help some of you realize you're not crazy. You're not the problem. Very often it's the other group or the other person, especially if you evaluate the situation and you try to be nice and pleasant and rational about it. So anyway, yeah, that's what's up. You understand? Feel me? We out. Bye.
Bye.
All right.